guys, welcome back to my subscriber battle series. Today we're battling Wade. I've battled him before a few times and he always kicks my ass. So I hope you'll enjoy watching this one because it's a really close one. And we were going with the 6v6, which I've been learning how to do over the week. And I led with my Greninja this time, which was quite good for me because he sent in Landorus, and although he cuts my attack, I go with the Scold and he goes down to like just below half, and then unluckily I didn't kill him and he sets up his Stealth Rocks, so that's really unlucky for me. He then switches into Conkeldurr and I get really unlucky in this turn. I went for a Scold to finish off the Landorus if he didn't switch, and I'm assuming that this Conkeldurr has the Guts ability and he gets burnt, so I'm like, oh dear, what have I done? So I go with the U-turn as I think that's my best bet to get out of there and still do some damage. And I went in with Talonflame, and I was a bit of a noob here and I forgot about the Stealth Rocks, which doesn't work too great for me because then he uses Drain Punch and he almost kills me. But then he switches in his Slowbro, which is super annoying. I've grown to hate the bro, he's really winding me up. So in this turn I go with a Roost. No I don't, I protected and it failed. And then I go for a Roost. And I wanted to do that so that I felt more comfortable to switch him back in later. And luckily I missed a Toxic. And I go for a Brave Bird as that's the only thing that's going to hurt him a little bit. And he finishes me off that turn with the Scold. I didn't expect him to attack that turn. I thought he was going to try and poison me again. So I lose Talonflame and I go back with Greninja, as I felt that he would be better as he can smack him with a Dark Pulse and take the Scold quite comfortably. But then this makes him switch again, and this is another switch-a-thon. We're just switching everywhere. And he sends in Conkeldurr to take the Dark Pulse, which doesn't do a lot. It hardly touches him, just takes him into the yellow, just. So I did what I did in the last turn where it was Conkeldurr and Greninja, and I went for the U-turn again to try and get myself out of there, but still knocking his damage down, his HP down slowly, even if it is with a tiny bit of damage. So I go with Azumarill this time, and he obviously predicts a Aqua Jet, and he switches after his Drain Punch. I think I may have missed a move there, I apologise. So he now switches, sorry about that, into his Slowbro, the annoyance of the bro. And I went for a Play Rough and it doesn't do a lot, just a tiny bit. So I was starting to panic a little bit now, and I pull back my Azumarill and send in Greninja again, as he's the best bet for Slowbro. And I get really unlucky and get poisoned from his Toxic. So then he switches in Scizor, and I'm getting sick of these down Scizor v Greninja battles. These are so stressful. And I'm not too worried about losing Greninja at this point, as he's still got quite a bit of HP left despite the poison. And I do a Dark Pulse that wasn't meant for him, obviously, and it takes him just above half of his HP. So obviously I don't want to lose Greninja just yet, so I pull him back again and I go with my Nidoking, the King. I felt that the best bet would be a Sucker Punch, because I expected that he was going to switch back into Slowbro, and no I didn't. I thought it would be best, sorry about that. But yeah, he Megas, which I wasn't expecting, and he does quite a bit of damage, and I didn't think that Nidoking was going to go down that fast. I thought he was going to hold on a little better than what he did, but he does get his butt kicked by Scizor. So now we're switching my Abomasnow, and I did this because I want to get the Hail up, because Hail seems to help me out like a lot. And I also thought that the best thing would be to Mega him and use Earthquake to finish off Scizor, but again he switches into the Bro. And Earthquake doesn't do a lot. Hardly touches them, if I remember correctly. It does a tiny bit. Yeah, it did less than like what Azumarill did. So I now feel that obviously having Abomasnow out isn't going to do a lot, so I switch him back and I go in with Greninja again. He's probably getting sick of seeing Greninja as I'm getting sick of seeing Slowbro. But he goes for the Toxic again, which I thought he would, so luckily I was already poisoned, so he couldn't do anything that turn. But we're both getting like smacked by the Hail, and I've already took quite a bit of damage from the stones and the poison, so things aren't looking great for me at this point. And I assumed that he was going to switch out again, so I got a bit risky and I went for the Scald, and I was right, and he sent out Scizor. So this time I managed to actually hit him, and it nearly kills him, but then he gets burnt and then the Hail finishes him off anyway. So I did feel pretty proud of myself for predicting the fact that he was going to switch that out and went for the risky Scald, because if I didn't I probably wouldn't have gotten as far as I did. So now he comes in with his Conkeldurr once again, and at this point I was thinking I'm just going to spam the Scald, I'm going to try and kill him as fast as possible, but it just doesn't kill him, and then he knocks me out with Drain Punch. But I'm pretty lucky for the fact that I'd already burnt him, and then the Hail manages to finish him off. Otherwise, like I said before, I don't think I'd have even got this far. He'd have kicked my ass like he always does. I didn't know who he was going to switch out in the next turn, so I went with Abomasnow. And luckily he sent in a Bird Type. And at this point I thought to go with the Ice Charge for super effective and priority, because I knew he was going to be coming at me with a Brave Bird. So I went with that, and I was really unlucky because obviously Brave Bird is super effective and it kills me. So he then switches himself, and the Hail stops as well just as I lose Abomasnow. I was so gutted. So I go with the Azumarill and get absolutely destroyed by the stones again, which then triggers my Citrus Berry. So I'm like, damn, I needed that for my Belly Drum. But he also withdraws and goes with Slowbro. But I was really like stupid and went for the Aqua Jet, which does the tiniest bit of damage ever, and his leftovers just go and heal that back up. So I thought I'm gonna be a bit risky this turn. I'm gonna go for the Belly Drum. I'm probably gonna lose either way, so I thought I might as well try and at least pull it off. And I get like taken down to like red HP, and then to finish it off he goes and poisons me. So that did not work out for me at all. But the poison doesn't kill me straight away, so I did manage to hit him after he switches in his turn into Garchomp, which is unlucky for him because then I just slapped him with a Play Rough. But he has like all the low HP hacks in the world, and he uses a Focus Sash and hangs on, even though most of his team have been doing that perfectly well without that. And then Poison finishes me off anyway. So now I'm down to my Hawlucha, and he swaps out Garchomp and sends in Landorus. And I thought Landorus was going to kick my ass anyway, but obviously I'm faster, and I managed to KO him with the Acrobatics. And then he switches back into his, I think it's Staraptor, and obviously he's got priority, and he just hits me in the face with a Brave Bird, which is super effective, and finishes off my last Pokemon. But I was pretty proud of that match because usually Wade just absolutely destroys me, and he's a good guy to fight, so hit him up on Twitter. I hope that one day I will be able to beat him. Thanks for watching, please comment, see you later.